Right now, Earth has one moon, just one. It controls our tides, stabilizes our axis, and lights up our nights. But what if we had more? Not two, not 10, 100 moons. What would the sky look like? What would happen to the oceans? And could anything survive? Let us find out. First, let us talk about where these moons would go. Our current moon orbits about 384,000 kilometers away. That is roughly 30 Earths lined up side by side, but space around Earth is not unlimited. There is a region called the Hill Sphere. This is the zone where Earth's gravity dominates over the Sun. Anything orbiting inside this zone stays with us. Anything outside drifts away. Earth's Hill Sphere extends about 1.5 million kilometers. Sounds like plenty of room for 100 moons, right? Not exactly. If we pack 100 moons into this space, they need to be much smaller than our current moon. Otherwise, they would crash into each other almost immediately. Let us say each moon is about 1/100th the mass of our current moon, roughly 30 kilometers across, about the size of a small asteroid. Now we can fit them, but fitting them is just the beginning of our problems. The night sky would be completely transformed. Right now, we see one moon moving slowly across the sky. With 100 moons, you would see dozens at any given time. Some close, bright, and fast. Others distant, dim, and slow. Full moons would happen constantly, but not all at once. Different moons would hit their full phase at different times. Some nights, the sky would blaze with 5 or 6 full moons. Other nights, just 1 or 2. Complete darkness would become rare. Even new moon phases would be overwhelmed by other moons in the sky. Astronomers would weep. Light pollution from space itself. But the real chaos happens in the oceans. Our single moon creates 2 tidal bulges on Earth. High tide on the side facing the moon. High tide on the opposite side. This gives us roughly 2 high tides and 2 low tides per day. Predictable. Gentle. About 1 meter of change in most places. Now multiply that by 100. Each moon pulls on the oceans with its own gravitational tug. These pulls would stack, cancel, and interfere with each other constantly. Tides would become completely unpredictable. Some days, multiple moons would align. Their combined gravity would create super tides. Coastal cities would flood. Then, hours later, the water would drain away as moons moved out of alignment. Other days, moons would pull in opposite directions, canceling each other out. Tides would nearly vanish. Ships would run aground in suddenly shallow harbors. Tide prediction, something we have mastered for centuries, would become nearly impossible. Every coastline would be a danger zone. And it gets worse. Moons do not just pull on oceans. They pull on rock too. Our single moon creates tiny land tides. The ground rises and falls by about 30 centimeters each day. You do not notice because it happens slowly and evenly. With 100 moons, these land tides would multiply. The Earth's crust would flex constantly. Fault lines would experience new stresses. Earthquakes would increase. Volcanoes might become more active. The planet itself would groan under the gravitational chaos. But here is the biggest problem. Orbital stability. 100 moons in the same system would not stay organized for long. Their gravities would tug on each other. Orbits would shift. Some moons would drift outward and escape. Others would drift inward toward Earth. And some would collide. Moon crashes would be rare at first, maybe once every few thousand years. But debris from each collision would create more objects. More objects mean more collisions, a cascade. Eventually, the space around Earth could become a ring of debris. Beautiful, yes, but constantly raining chunks of rock onto the surface. Dinosaurs went extinct from one impact. We would face impacts regularly. So, could life survive? Probably not complex life, at least not on the surface. The constant tidal chaos would reshape coastlines monthly. Earthquakes would level cities. Impact events would reset ecosystems. Predicting anything, weather, tides, seasons, would be nearly impossible. Simple life might adapt. Bacteria do not care about tides. But anything building civilizations? No chance. We got lucky with one moon. It is big enough to stabilize our axis, small enough to keep tides manageable, far enough to avoid collisions, close enough to give us beautiful nights. One moon is not boring. It is perfect. 100 moons makes for a great thought experiment. Just do not expect to sleep peacefully under that crowded sky. Or at all.